Hello and welcome, and thanks for listening to Cli-MATES, an energy podcast dedicated to discussing all things energy, carbon, and sustainability. We also point out what's getting hot aside from our planet. Do you like that? I'm your host, Enya, and today I'm joined with my carbon climate and co-host, Mark, who I will be introducing shortly. Well, Mark, before we get into today's topic, how's your week been, and can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Pretty good. Busy enough. Sorry, busy enough. Not much.
So, could you tell us a bit about yourself? So, like, what's your job title?
Alright, I'm a sustainability engineer, and mainly handle like BREEAM assessments, and I do some life cycle assessments as well for embodied carbon.
Okay. Yeah. And how long have you been in this sector?
Almost 2 years, so not very long at all.
Mm-hmm. Two of the best years of your life, I'm sure.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah, it's been really good though. Oh, it's been really good.
And one of the reasons, I'm going to ask you a question, but one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast is because I don't think enough like marketing or like awareness of the jobs in the energy sector is done. So, see, at school, did you ever envisage yourself in a role like this?
No. To be honest, probably wasn't quite sure a role like this was about when I was in school. But to be honest, no. I was very much in school. I would pick something I like, and then kind of move from there. I'll do this, then do this. Because for instance, we did like geography, so just kept picking that, and then ended up doing it at uni. Then obviously, as you do in uni, you kind of like learn loads of different subjects. More like, for instance, so I did geography and environmental science in Dundee, so like a joint course. So you end up doing a lot about like sustainability stuff, as well as kind of the physical and human geography as well. So it's kind of branches out a bit.
Okay, very very geography heavy background. Do you think has that come in handy with your current role with BREEAM assessments and?
I think because geography it's a weird kind of like social science, so it is in itself very broad, and you kind of go across like a range of subjects, for instance like human and physical geography. But then BREEAM, because it's as an assessment, it's like spread very much across the different aspects of a building. For instance, you do about water efficiency, and you learn about, and then energy items, and then but also kind of addresses things like transport for a building, like how accessible it is for the new build to get, and kind of also includes, so it's ecology, so it's big broad kind of range, so it does lean itself to geography background, I believe.
That's really great to hear, because I know a lot of people who maybe study geography at uni, and I know some who they go in so many different fields and career paths that aren't geography. I think my sister's partner, he studied geography at uni, and now he's an accountant. So it shows you geography is one of those areas that it can lead you anywhere, but it definitely, as you said, it definitely helps this role. So you said, what was it? What are the type of assessments you do again?
So they're called BREEAM assessments.
BREEAM assessments, and that brings us on to today's topic, which is going to be BREEAM and the world of energy accreditations in construction. Yeah, I was trying to make it cool and breezy, kind of do a lead in,
Okay.
Yeah, just work with me here, okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, can you tell me what BREEAM stands for?
It's the Building Regulation Establishment Education Assessment Method.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, definitely.
It is a mouthful, and then obviously it's BREEAM, and then a lot of people call it BREEAM, like the fish, so it's easier for some people, but...
Okay, well, that's the thing I actually find when researching different other energy accreditations like BREEAM, they're all short for something, it's all, it'll be BREAM or CFSH or HQM or like stuff like that.
Yeah, there's loads of, yeah, BRE run a number of them, and then there's also ones like Well Standard and Fitwell, which is,
Yeah.
it's more kind of like health and well-being in a building once
Hmm.
it's occupied,
That's actually very interesting
but they're
to
all some
hear.
form of abbreviation.
We'll definitely like dive more into that later. Like definitely. Okay. So can you tell me what exact process do you go through to create a BREEAM assessment?
So the way obviously it's kind of, it's a broad strategy, but it depends on the building. So it kind of starts off, BREEAM splits into different uh, building categories first. So firstly, you'd find out, say is it a new build, or is it a retrofit, is it refurb, um, how much is it being built out. So for instance, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
offices may only do like what's called a Cat A fit out. So it would generally be, so you wouldn't know your tenants. So it'd be a shell and core, and that's how, so you'd assess it as a shell and core building. But generally, it would be fully fitted, which is everything's installed, all your services, all your heating, everything's there for when the tenants walk in. So once you have that kind of confirmed, you then have to see what credits are available. So ideally, it would all ideally you're on early enough so you can have some sort of say, or like the travel assessment, for instance. There's loads of different, because there's different credits and a lot of different timing requirements in BREEAM, to try to make sure that you've thought about, for instance, energy. You thought about this at the very start, how the building's shaped, how it's going to like be heated, and what kind of energy like equipment can you use at the start. What renewable energies can you kind of apply? Because it's very far on, but you're sitting in the middle of a very populated place. You can't really do geothermal or wind, so that's kind of locked away
Mm-hmm.
pretty early on. So it's very building dependent.
This is probably a worded like a loaded question, but just how many people would you talk to in the design team when on a project, when on a construction project?
Um, so you talk to the architects, you talk to the main your main point of call would likely be the project manager, or for the contractors themselves, and that's mainly how you're kind of drive the assessment.
Mm.
But from there, because BREEAM's loads of different aspects, so you talk to the contractors, you talk to the architects, you'd have to get in touch with the ecologists, you'd have to get in touch with the civil engineers, the structural engineers, the M&E, the mechanical guys, the electrical guys, the energy assessors, um, and as well as that, acoustics as well. So it's really, and transport assessors as well. So it's
Wow,
basically anything you can think of that goes into a building. You probably have to BREEAM try to incorporate that in some way.
that's very cool. Do you ever get, now that you've been working in this field 2 years, do you ever get where you're walking past a building, and like maybe it's a large, like a high rise or anything, and you think, God, I know how much work actually went into that.
Yeah,
Whereas like maybe 2 years previously, you're like, yeah, whatever.
it was more. I think when I first started, you were doing it all a lot over Teams, and you're doing all these discussions and seeing these drawings and that, and then you actually go see the building, and you're just like, oh, I know where that is. I've been,
Hmm.
you see it in person for the first time. It's like, yeah, I know
Yeah.
I know a fair about this building.
That's good. That's good. And Mark, how long can a BREEAM assessment go on for?
Depends, because so BREEAM assessments are split into two parts. So there's a design stage and a post construction stage. So those are two different certificates that you have to achieve. So firstly, you'd come through. So design stage, it depends where you join in. Say Reba stage 3, which is generally everyone's on board, the building's kind of decided and set out, and now you come on and you're trying to push it across board to get this BREEAM assessment. So that could be six. Generally, we like to hope for a 6 months for
Mm.
design, but
It never
pointless
is.
piece of string, you know. It's because you're working with so many different people and they have to meet the specific criteria. It can be difficult to narrow that down and get like ready to assess.
Okay.
And then the post construction would be similar. So it'll be over the course of a building's life cycle, really, as long as the building's being constructed, you'd have some sort of BREEAM aspect to it.
Okay, so, like, I know we're talking, you complete BREEAM assessments, but we actually didn't talk about, like, probably the thing we should have started on. You're actually a qualified BREEAM assessor.
Yes, I completed my qualification last September, so I was able to complete the assessor training and do the exam. So now I can certify, well, I have UK new construction, so I can certify buildings and assess them to be able to send out to the BRE so they can confirm that the rating is achieved. Because BREEAM's, it's split into different ratings. It goes from pass to outstanding, and there's different standards you have to meet along the way. But as a BREEAM assessor, you're allowed to kind of, so you decide, you're given information, you're collating it, and then right, this is ready to submit, and I believe it's an excellent. And the BRE will come to me. I'll send it to the BRE, and then after some time, they'll come back, and it's like, you say that's an excellent, but I don't know if this, or this, and then I go, yeah, but this. So I don't think that water drawing is showing the exact thing that it should be showing. And it's like, okay, and then either I'll go back to the mechanical guys, and they'll say, can this be edited slightly? Or this isn't showing this, can you, why isn't it showing it? And they'll correct it, and we'll go back, and then we'll get an interim certificate.
Okay, well, so yeah, again, you're like talking to everyone, and not very full on like process and job, but yeah. Okay, well, like, how did you find the training? Was it hard?
It's okay at the start, because I guess it all would depend. So it's all about learning the manual, and because thankfully I had been working within the group and working in a number of teams, so I had gotten quite familiar with the BREEAM assessment method and was able, working on the job, you're able to kind of learn a lot more than trying to like start it blank. So it was okay by the time I was ready to do my assessor training and the course, I had already a fair bit of experience with the BREEAM method.
Okay.
So it wasn't too bad, but it is a lot trying to learn the very specifics of what's required, the specific criteria.
Okay, yeah, very good. Yeah, like, I know exactly what you mean. Like, I've been an energy assessor for 5 years, and I'm still learning every day.
Yeah.
Okay, well, very good. And you're saying the BREEAM manual, I'll get you to send me a link to that, and then I'll post it with the podcast episode.
Okay.
So any interested viewers who maybe want to go down the BREEAM route can read up on it. But like, this is the thing, I remember at uni, like, I studied environmental engineering and did take energy modules, and BREEAM was talked about, but maybe BREEAM was talked about maybe in a couple of slides, and didn't even care, it wasn't even presented to us. Oh, this is a potential job. More just talked about BREEAM, and it's like, yeah, it covers health, well-being, this, and we're like, okay, that's awesome. Oh yeah, and also there's BREEAM assessors. I'm like, what's like? So yeah, it's great to see, like, you know, so many in this role, like, or there's more people getting into this role. But yeah. But speaking of BREEAM assessors as a job, I'm gonna move on now. Okay, to the bit of fun, bit of a quirky section in the podcast. It's called the "What do you BREEAM mean?" Oh, hold on. Let me try that again. Okay. What do you BREEAM? No, hold on. What do you BREEAM? Yeah, section. This is a wee section I like to individualize and tailor in each podcast. I pretty much spit some facts, like did you know facts, out to you, just to see if it, like, you know, and to the listeners, just, you know, for general information, just because it's fun, it's quirky.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, can you tell me how many BREEAM assessors there are in a 100-mile radius?
In 100 mile, um, a lot.
A lot, a lot. Okay, that's your official answer, Mark. Brilliant, brilliant. Would you be surprised to learn there's 1,955 BREEAM assessors?
That's a lot.
That's a lot of BREEAM
was,
assessors.
yeah, it's
Yeah. So, guys, just so you know, there is job prospects in the BREEAM industry. Like, there's so much, and there's a market, and it's continually growing.
I would say in that as well. It's kind of growing as well because a lot of places, for instance, London, have requirements for buildings over a certain size to achieve an excellent BREEAM rating. Or I know things like in many new schools here in Northern Ireland have to, if to achieve an excellent rating as well. So
Right,
that's
okay.
kind of like a new role being brought in. And I know like Belfast City Council encourages new large buildings to have a BREEAM assessment.
Wow, okay.
So it is kind of, it is growing and it's kind of well received.
And it's kind of almost like at the end of the BREEAM assessment, they're able to say, this building has BREEAM, and the so-and-so rating. We're going to talk about ratings more
Right.
later. But with the BREEAM accreditation, you get a certain rating. Just to break it down. So it's almost like it's marketing the building as this.
Very much so, yeah. And generally, buildings will be able to, I guess, they're sold on better if they have a BREEAM rating, similar to EPCs, imagine. So like an EPC of A, that's class.
Yeah.
And a BREEAM excellent is also excellent.
Sorry, back to the what do you BREEAM section. Okay, completely legitimate section. Okay. How many energy accreditation schemes do you think there are out there for buildings?
Energy accreditations, it's bound to be. There's only one. There's obviously the building regulations, and ones come to mind, the likes of neighbours and that. But
You're
probably
along the right
100.
lines, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. You don't know.
Double
okay.
figures. Double figures.
Oh wow. Okay. This answer's gonna look wow. Okay. Thanks, Mark. So, according to workman.co.uk, with green building certificates, there are 15 that are commonly used. This includes BREEAM, but also includes like the one you said, Neighbours UK. And there's, I think you also mentioned at the start with your introduction.
Fitwell.
Fitwell, yeah.
It's another one.
Fitwell, and that's more health, like. Or,
It's kind of it'll be how like during the building how a building operates. So the amount of water, if there's fresh water available, easy accessible by the building occupants, indoor air quality, that kind of leans into BREEAM as well. But it's very much a building in use, similar to like operational energy. Only it's for how a building operates. Like it would include loads of different stuff and kind of how it operates.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. And then there's also the home quality mark,
Yes.
which I know, like I've been seeing you doing a lot of them in the past wee while, and they seem quite extensive assessments.
I'm pretty fresh to home quality mark, but it's basically BREEAM for residential buildings, and it differs, or it can be quite difficult because unlike, so BREEAM you'd have a rating for the entire building, whereas home quality mark, say you have a block of 10 houses, there'd be a different rating for each house, so you have to achieve either the same for every single house, or some might one may have 2 beds and for 3 people, one may have 5 beds. So there's specific requirements for the number of
Okay.
beds, so it differs across.
Fair. Okay, so back to the what do you BREEAM section. I almost forgot the name of the section there. Like I'm on a different page.
It's got such a good name. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a good name. It's gonna be groundbreaking. Like, okay, so did you know BREEAM was first published by the BRE in 1990?
I
Okay.
did.
Okay. I don't know why I was expecting like, wow, really? Like such a reaction to that. But it's considered the world's longest established method of assessing sustainability and energy for buildings. Yeah. So we talked a bit about BREEAM there. So just to break it down for all the listeners who maybe aren't aware, BREEAM measures energy, health and well-being, transport, water use, ecology and biodiversity, and materials, and waste, and pollution, with a heavy emphasis on life cycle value. I think I directly took that from somewhere. I think I took that from the BRE website.
There's a management section in there as well.
Oh, is there? Oh, yeah, there is. Like, yeah. No, my bad. Like, we can tell who's the BREEAM assessor here, okay? Like, so you would, like, an actual inspection, like...
So we get, so you do site inspections, kind of, because obviously we'll have drawings and reports and that for the building and kind of across it. But in a lot of ways, for instance, there's, when we submit an assessment, there's a BRE quality assurance, QA, and it's a lot easier when we're submitting something if we have a photo of it as well. So we have to do kind of show it's installed. So it says it's on the drawing and it says it's in the report, but we have to also show a picture of it. It's like, yes, this has definitely been installed. For instance, like ecology measures, it's a lot easier to show them for like bird boxes or a green roof. For that, you need to show it on a picture, similar to stuff like bin stores and signage. Signage is a big thing because it's easy to see on a drawing, but a lot of them query, if you're walking into this building, can you get to the cycle store all right? Is there clear signage across the way to get there?
Very good. Wow. So you definitely would say you go to site a lot, or go to, like, you would be required to go to site?
Yes, a fair amount, yeah.
Very.
Thankfully, I do quite enjoy that though.
Yeah. It's great practical experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and it's always nice when you go to site, like maybe they tell you something's done, and you go there and you're like, oh, that's what that is, or like, that's what. You're like, oh, right, okay, like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So, again, we're still in the, I know it's become tedious now, but we're still in the what do you BREEAM section of the podcast. So, we talked about BREEAM assessors previously. How many BREEAM assessments do you think there are currently out there?
I think there's about 2,000.
2,000?
More, but if I remember, see, this comes up in like the blurb, I guess, of the manual. It kind of says there's so many. Maybe that 2,000 might be too big. I think it's probably closer to like 200.
See, I know
200 certified is that's too low.
I know you previously talked about there is different types of BREEAM, so I don't think this was a fair question. With the new construction, fit out, and everything. So I just went on the BRE tool, like, you know,
it's
and
2,000 is way too big, isn't it? Way too big.
But no, I just went. Do you know there? Okay, and it might surprise the learners to know, but there's this tool on the BREEAM website that allows you to search for how many assessments have been done. I'll double check to see if it's still
GreenBook Live.
100-mile radius. Like, I don't know.
I know, because obviously there'll be UK assessments, then there's international assessments as well.
Yeah, so I think this is actually what it's taken. It's taken into account everything. Yeah. So, do you want to take a guess about how many BREEAM everything there is?
See, I said 2,000, but I'm not unsure if that's too big or too little.
Okay. Would you be surprised to know it is 34,643?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Last night, as I've checked, who knows? Like, maybe today there could be. The number's just going to keep on going up, people, okay? Right. Well, we talked about like the BREEAM assessments, BREEAM assessors. Now I want to delve a bit more into BREEAM itself. So we talked about the certification of it, and with like once you complete a BREEAM assessment, you get a certain certification. With that, like pretty much it's like a grade.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
How many grades are there, Mark? Oh, and also just as a side point, we've now left the Like, what do you
Right to
BREEAM
the
section?
BREEAM section.
I'll do a round of applause or something there.
Oh, is that
I'm sure like everyone would be very happy. They're like,
a wee golf clap?
yeah. Okay, but yes, sorry. Back to my original point, or original question. How many grades are there for BREEAM?
Sorry, I'm counting on my fingers. That's not very. 5.
There are 5. However, a secret answer would also be 6. Because did you know you can get a not classified one?
Yeah.
Like it's so you're like you pay for the BREEAM assessment. You put your bills in through so much, and it doesn't even get a grade. Like,
See, it's because there's rating levels. So each level, each of those 6, you can, I guess, get it unclassified, but A, no one would want that, and B, there's quite a lot of effort and time to put into BREEAM assessment, and for it to be unclassified, it just wouldn't look well.
okay, well, I just want to go through the the different grades. So the first actual one is a pass. Okay, can you tell me what the next one is?
Good.
Okay, and then the next one is very good. Can you tell me what the next one is?
Excellent.
Yeah. And then the best one to get is outstanding. Okay, and on the website, I'm brilliant at quoting the sources, like I promise, but it says, beside outstanding, there's less than the top 1% of UK non-domestic buildings have this. So that's really...
It's good. There's ratings with each of those levels have a percentage against them, and it's kind of showing generally how against like building regulations it achieves, and the idea is for someone to be outstanding, it is outstanding, so it's very hard to achieve, and it kind of shows that the building's it's like an A star for a building.
Yeah, I love when, it's like, you equivocate something, you're like, oh, that's what that means. Okay. Well, now I just want to delve a bit more into your work portfolio. Can you tell me what's the most difficult job you've ever worked on, and how long did it take you?
So one of the first jobs I worked on was it was like a multi-use, so it was 3 different assessments in one, so it's all the one building. So I had come onto it in the post-construction stage, and it took about 6 months to get everything collated and in, and it was just because it was against 3 different buildings, and 2 were the same type, thankfully, but 1 was a different category, so it was a school, and the other 2 were hotels, but they all had slightly different requirements and slightly different ratings achieved. So you'd be requesting information for one, then be slightly different information for another, and you had to drop a credit for one, pick it up another. It was just it was difficult to kind of like keep track of and make sure it was still everything was plowing on the same way.
Okay, well, and I've been asking my guests about this, just with their current specialised field. But can you tell me what your favourite thing about BREEAM is? Like, what do you love to do as an assessor?
To be fair, it's quite so generally in BREEAM, because it's kind of like, whereas you're running a lot of meetings, and you're also so you'd be doing meetings for kind of different projects, and I quite like how in my as a BREEAM assessor, I'm working against loads of different building types with loads of different design teams on like a weekly or daily basis, so you're trying to see it all, doing loads of different buildings, loads of different areas, and they each have different requirements, so it's kind of it's a good challenge to kind of keep going and kind of keep track of all the different projects going on at the same time, and with the different team members.
Okay.
And not everyone, you'd work in some projects where some people aren't so keen on or don't know about BREEAM as well as some other people do, and it's just different levels of working towards. If you get me.
So keeping everything organised, like, and group that too, yeah.
It's quite good, and how you're just working. You're working across different disciplines, and you're learning, and you have to kind of get familiarised with lots of different information. which is good.
That's, yeah, nice. Well, that's, Mark, you've been brilliant today. So you've given so much information about BREEAM. We will definitely have you back. But just before you go, do you have any advice for future prospective engineers, modelers, or people looking to get into BREEAM?
It's honestly, when you're starting off, if you're getting to BREEAM, it's very sustainability focused, and you can pick it up very easy, but it's very much learning the manual and trying to stick to that. And it's because you don't, it's good, it's always there, so you can come back and forth, but it's always good to be able to like know that information. And it helps a lot when you're say you're in a building, you can't get to the manual, you have to remember, okay, what am I need to take a picture of this, what's this relating to. So it's good. And yeah,
so
good luck.
Stick to the manual, or
stick to the manual.
Alright. I've got a general bit of advice as well.
Okay.
Won't surprise you, it's a pun, but I say pun, it's just like people are like, that's not a pun, that's an atrocity or something. So it's always BREEAM your A game to the table. Right? Always BREEAM your A game. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Mark's just silent. Mark's like, yeah, that's it. Like, he's looking at me. He's like, can I please leave now?
No, that was fun. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening to Carbon Cli-MATES. If you keep updated with our Instagram at carbon_Cli-MATES, we'll have access to the information and links we talked about in today's podcast, and it will have all the appropriate links to subscribe and keep up to date with this podcast series. Thanks again. Bye. Do you want to say bye, Mark?
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry.